The world doesn't care about your reasons. It doesn't care about your story. It doesn't care about how unfair life has been. The world looks at one thing: results, and results only come from power, not talk, not intention, not excuses. Power. Comment no excuses. If you're ready to start operating from power, not pity, power is not given. It's taken, earned, built in silence while everyone else is busy justifying their failures. You either rise above your circumstances or you get buried by them. There is no middle ground. And the people who win, they don't wait for permission. Excuses are the language of the powerless. They feel good for a moment, but they steal your future. Every time you explain why you can't, you're handing the world your authority. You're telling it, I can be controlled. That ends the moment you choose power. Real power is discipline, self-control, the ability to do what needs to be done without needing to feel like it. It's waking up when you said you would. It's showing up when no one's watching. It's building even when no one believes. If you want respect, stop asking for it. Take it. By becoming undeniable, by moving in silence and letting your results speak so loud the world can't ignore you, because in the end the world only listens to one voice, the voice of power. The weak talk, the strong act, and the world. The world bows to the ones who act without excuse. Power isn't loud. It doesn't beg. It doesn't whine. True power is calm, controlled, and certain. It doesn't need to convince anyone. It simply moves, and the world adjusts. When you walk in power, people feel it before you even speak. The weak rely on noise. They announce their plans. They explain their failures. They seek sympathy to hide from accountability. But sympathy doesn't build empires. Excuses don't create legacy. If you want to be remembered, you have to stop explaining and start producing. The world has no respect for almost. It only respects what's done. Finished, completed. You can talk about what you were going to do, or you can become the person who actually does it, but you can't be both. Every excuse you protect weakens you. Every reason you cling to for why you're not further ahead is a chain you wrap around your own potential, and those chains don't break until you stop defending them. You want to be taken seriously? Then act like your time is sacred. Show up like every second matters. Operate with such precision and commitment that people learn not to waste your time because they know you won't waste theirs. The world respects the disciplined, the prepared, the relentless. The rest, they get ignored, forgotten, replaced. You choose which side you're on, the side of power or the side of excuses. Excuses are comfortable. They wrap around you like a blanket, convincing you that your lack of results isn't your fault. But comfort is the silent killer of greatness. Every time you justify why you haven't moved forward, you're digging your own grave, slowly, quietly, willingly. The world will never hand you respect while you're hiding in that blanket. It rewards the one who throws it off, stands up in the cold, and faces the fight head on. You have to understand that the world measures you by outcomes, not intentions. People don't line up to follow someone who tried. They line up behind the one who made it happen, despite the odds, despite the obstacles, despite the pain. The world doesn't admire those who almost win. It admires those who deliver, who take the vision from their mind and make it undeniable reality. And if you want that level of respect, you must be willing to pay the price in full every single day. Power is built in the small moments when you could make an excuse but don't. It's forged in the decision to wake up earlier when your body screams for more sleep, in the choice to push harder when your mind tells you to quit, in the discipline to stay the course when distractions try to pull you off track. These moments may seem insignificant in isolation, but over time they stack. They turn into habits, form the foundation of power. When you live without excuses, you operate differently. Your word becomes law to yourself first, and then to the world. You stop saying, I'll try, and start saying, I will. You stop explaining delays and start producing results. And in doing so, you train the world to take you seriously. People recognize discipline when they see it. They know commitment when it's consistent. And they respect those who prove their worth through action rather than talk. Understand this. The world isn't moved by your struggles. It's moved by your victories. Everyone has problems, everyone has challenges, but very few refuse to let those challenges define them. You must be one of the few. Stand tall in the storm, let the lightning strike, let the rain pour, but never let go of your mission. That's what sets the powerful apart. They endure without excuse. Because at the end of the day, excuses don't pay bills. Excuses don't change lives. Excuses don't create history. Power does. And the only way to have power is to take full responsibility for everything in your life, even the things you didn't cause. That responsibility becomes your fuel, and that fuel becomes the fire that burns down every limitation in your way. Power doesn't negotiate with weakness. It doesn't sit at the same table as excuses. When you operate from power, you stop asking, can I, and start asking, how will I? That shift changes everything. The powerless see obstacles as the end. The powerful see them as problems to be solved. This is why the world bends to those who refuse to bend themselves. Strength earns attention. Relentlessness earns respect. You have to stop selling your potential for the cheap satisfaction of an excuse. Every time you give yourself a way out, you're proving to your mind that you can't be trusted to follow through. And the cruel truth is, if you can't trust yourself, neither will anyone else. Power comes from a reputation of consistency, first with yourself, then with the world. It's the trust you build in your own discipline that makes your presence command attention without you saying a word. The people you admire didn't get there because life was easy for them. They didn't build influence by waiting for perfect timing or fair conditions. They rose because they moved forward when every reason told them to stop. They chose discipline over comfort, clarity over confusion, and courage over fear. And in making those choices, they became the kind of people the world had no choice but to notice. Excuses will always offer you a softer path, one that requires less sweat, less pain, and less sacrifice. But the soft path doesn't lead to power. It leads to regret. The day will come when you have to live with the weight of your decisions, and only two weights exist, the weight of discipline or the weight of regret. One strengthens you, the other destroys you. The choice is yours every single day. If you want the world to respect you, you must first respect the struggle. Stop wishing for it to be easier and start demanding more from yourself. Demand more precision in your work, more intensity in your effort, more consistency in your habits. The higher your standard, the greater your results. And results, not excuses, are the only currency the world respects. When you walk in power, excuses die. They can't breathe in the presence of relentless action. They can't survive inside a mind that no longer tolerates weakness disguised as reason. And when you've killed your excuses, you've done more than just build discipline. You've built a life the world can't ignore. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not luck. It's not fate. It's not someone else's fault. It's discipline. And discipline is born when you stop letting excuses dictate your actions. Every time you push past a reason to quit, you add another layer to your armor. That armor is what the world sees. That armor is what makes them listen when you speak. You have to understand that respect is not given freely. It's rented, and the rent is due every single day. You don't get to work hard for a week and then take a month off. You don't get to show up only when you feel inspired. Power doesn't care about your moods. It doesn't care about whether or not you feel like doing it. It only responds to consistent action, day after day, without fail. The powerless cling to excuses because it's easier to defend their limits than to face them. They would rather explain why they can't than push themselves to see if they can. But power belongs to the ones who reject that mindset completely. You must become allergic to excuses. The moment one enters your mind, you crush it with action before it takes root. Look around at the people who have the influence, the wealth, the freedom you want. They aren't operating from a place of if only. They live in the realm of I will. They've built a habit of moving forward regardless of conditions. They've learned that the world doesn't open doors for people with excuses in their pockets. It opens for those who kick the door down with proof of their results. You can tell the difference between someone with power and someone without it in a single conversation. The powerless talk about problems, the powerful talk about solutions, the powerless complain about conditions, the powerful create opportunities. The powerless speak in some days, the powerful speak in deadlines. This is the separation. This is the reason one is respected and the other is ignored. So stop giving your energy to reasons why you can't. Start building evidence that you can. Stack proof so high that the world cannot deny your capability. Because the truth is simple. The world will always respect results over reasons and power over pity. Which will you choose to give it? Power is not a gift you stumble upon. It is something you forge through repeated acts of discipline, especially when it would be easier to surrender. You cannot build it scrolling on your phone, waiting for inspiration, or surrounding yourself with people who enable your excuses. Power demands isolation. Power demands sacrifice. Power demands that you give up the version of yourself that settles for less. Excuses feel good in the moment because they let you off the hook, but that's the trap. Every excuse you allow makes you weaker, smaller, less relevant. It trains your mind to quit at the first sign of difficulty, and the world notices that pattern. People can feel whether you are someone who follows through or someone who folds. They won't respect what they know they can't rely on. The powerful operate by a different code. They do what they say they will do, no matter how they feel. They understand that life is built in the hours no one sees, in the early mornings when the rest of the world sleeps, in the late nights when everyone else has gone home. They earn respect in the shadows so that when they step into the light, no one can question whether they deserve to be there. If you want the world to treat you like you matter, you have to stop acting like your comfort matters more than your commitment. Stop picking the easy road just because it's smooth. Choose the road with resistance, the one that demands more from you, the one that forces you to grow stronger with every step. That's the path that shapes you into someone worth listening to. Power doesn't ask for permission to exist. It stands, even when standing alone. It moves, even when the path is unclear. It creates, even when the resources are scarce. That's why the world respects it. Because it's rare, because it's earned. Because most people never have the courage to develop it. You have to decide right now, will you keep defending your weaknesses or will you start building your strength? One path earns sympathy, the other earns respect, but you cannot have both. You will never see someone at the top of their game explaining why they couldn't. You will never hear a champion list excuses for why they came up short. They either deliver or they don't, and when they don't, they own it. That's what makes them dangerous. That's what makes them respected. Ownership is the fuel of power, while excuses are the currency of weakness. When you own everything, your wins, your losses, your choices, you remove the one thing that excuses thrive on: blame. Without someone or something to point to, the only person left to face is you. And that's where the transformation begins. Because when you take full responsibility, you take full control. You stop waiting for the world to change and start bending it to your will. Excuses keep you small because they convince you that you are a victim of circumstances. Power frees you because it convinces you that you are the architect of outcomes. Victims wait. Builders act. Victims explain. Builders execute. Every day you have to decide, are you telling a story about why you can't or building a story worth telling? The world will always give you a reason to quit. It will throw obstacles in your path, drain your energy, and tempt you with distractions. That's not unfair. That's the test. The question is whether you will let those obstacles define you or refine you. Powerful people take the hit, learn the lesson, and move forward stronger. Weak people take the hit and sit down forever. If you're tired of not being respected, stop giving people reasons not to show up when you said you would. Deliver before the deadline. Do the work without being told. Develop a track record so consistent that even your critics can't deny your ability. Respect is not about being liked. It's about being undeniable. And understand this. The moment you stop making excuses, the world starts listening. Because while words are cheap, results are priceless. And in the end, the world only respects those who pay in full. Respect isn't earned in the moments when everything is going right. It's forged in the moments when everything is going wrong and you refuse to break. People watch what you do when the pressure is on. They watch how you respond when your back is against the wall. And if you can hold your ground, then if you can still move forward when the odds are against you, that's when they start to respect you. Excuses make you fragile. They train you to avoid the hard moments instead of facing them, and fragility has no place in a world that demands strength. The reason the world respects power is because power survives impact. It takes the hit and doesn't shatter. It gets knocked down and stands up faster than before. Excuses can't do that. They collapse at the first sign of resistance. The ones who earn respect don't live in the land of if only. They live in the land of I will. They find a way to make progress with what they have, right where they are. They don't waste energy waiting for conditions to improve. They create improvement through action. That's what makes them leaders in a sea of followers. If you want the world to treat you differently, you have to start treating yourself differently. That means no more letting yourself off the hook. No more softening the truth so it feels better. No more pretending that a lack of results is anything but your responsibility. Power begins with brutal honesty, and that honesty must start with you. Every excuse is a story you tell yourself to stay the same. Every act of discipline is a story you tell yourself to change. Stack enough discipline and you become unrecognizable, not just to others, but to yourself. And that transformation is impossible for the world to ignore. So remember this, you can choose the comfort of excuses or the discomfort of power. One keeps you where you are. The other makes the world take notice. But you cannot have both. Power isn't about being loud. It's about being unshakable. You can talk all day about what you're going to do, but the world has learned to tune out words. It pays attention to proof. That's why the people who truly have power don't waste energy convincing anyone. They simply move, and their results become impossible to ignore. Excuses will keep you talking while others are building. And every day you choose talk over action, you fall further behind. The worst part? You start believing your own reasons. You convince yourself that your limitations are real, when in reality they're just choices you've repeated so often they feel permanent. The powerful don't allow those illusions to survive. They destroy them with action. If you want respect, you have to stop living like your time is infinite. It's not. Every excuse you make is time you will never get back. The powerful treat time like currency. They spend it with precision, invest it where it multiplies, and guard it from thieves disguised as distraction. The powerless. They waste it on things that don't move them forward and then wonder why nothing changes. The truth is, the world doesn't remember people who almost made it. It remembers the ones who finished, who delivered, who refused to quit, no matter how heavy the burden became. Respect is tied to completion, not intention. If you want to be respected, you need to start finishing what you start. Every act of follow-through strengthens your reputation. Every time you do what you said you would, your power grows. And once your power is visible, the world will treat you differently. It won't be because they like you. It will be because they can't deny you. That's the difference. So stop defending the story that keeps you weak. Start building the evidence that makes you powerful. The world has no choice but to respect the person who moves without excuse and delivers without fail. Power comes from alignment. When your actions match your words and your results match your ambition. The problem is, most people want respect without that alignment. They want to be seen as powerful while living in patterns of weakness. They speak of big visions, but operate in small habits. The world isn't fooled. It recognizes the difference between talkers and builders instantly. Excuses create a gap between who you say you are and what you actually produce. And the wider that gap gets, the less anyone takes you seriously. That's why discipline is non-negotiable. Discipline closes that gap. It makes your actions undeniable proof of your words. It leaves no room for doubt because it's visible in every detail of how you move. The powerful don't need to convince anyone of their worth. They prove it every day. Through consistency, through precision, through showing up, even when it's inconvenient. They don't need pity. They don't want sympathy. They know those things are cheap substitutes for respect, and respect is earned through execution, not explanation. If you want to command a room, you must first command yourself. That means doing the work when no one's watching, holding the standard when no one's clapping, and refusing to let excuses pollute your mindset. Power is built in private and revealed in public. What you do in the dark is what determines how the world treats you in the light. Every moment you give to an excuse is a moment you're stealing from your own potential. It's not just about what you lose in that moment. It's about the momentum you kill. Power thrives on momentum. Every small act of follow-through feeds it. Every broken promise to yourself starves it. So make the choice. Live in the cycle of excuses and stay invisible, or step into the discipline of power and make the world take notice. One path will drain you. The other will define you. When you stop giving excuses, you stop giving away your power. Excuses are like leaks in a ship. They seem small at first, but they will sink you if you let them go unpatched. Every time you justify why you didn't show up, why you didn't finish, why you didn't push harder, you're drilling another hole in your own foundation. The powerful know this, and that's why they protect their integrity with everything they have. Integrity is the root of respect. It's not just about honesty with others. It's about honesty with yourself. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. No matter the weather, no matter the mood, no matter who's watching. Every time you follow through, you reinforce the idea that your word is unbreakable, and the world respects that more than any excuse you could ever offer. The truth is, people are watching you even when you think they aren't. They notice if you keep your word. They notice if you meet your deadlines. They notice if you consistently show up prepared. You're either building a reputation for reliability or one for inconsistency, and that reputation will decide whether the world opens doors for you or closes them in your face. Excuses may protect your ego in the short term, but they destroy your credibility in the long term. And without credibility, you have no influence. Without influence, you have no power. This is why the powerful are ruthless with themselves. They refuse to let comfort dictate their commitments. Understand this. The world respects a finisher, someone who doesn't just start strong but finishes stronger, someone who can be counted on when the pressure is high and the stakes are real. The kind of person who delivers results not because it's easy, but because they refuse to accept any other outcome. If you want to step into that kind of power, you must kill the habit of explaining your shortcomings. Replace every excuse with an action. Replace every reason why you can't with a strategy for how you will. Because in the end, power is just responsibility multiplied by consistency. This world is built on results. It listens to the strong, it follows the disciplined, and it rewards the relentless. The rest get ignored. You can fight that truth, or you can use it. The moment you accept it, you stop wasting energy trying to be understood, and you start using that energy to become undeniable. Power is not about dominating others. It's about mastering yourself so completely that no circumstance, no setback, no opinion can move you off course. That mastery is magnetic. People can't help but respect it. Even your enemies will have to acknowledge it, because power leaves no room for dismissal. Excuses are the language of the invisible. They keep you unseen, unheard, and unimportant. Power, on the other hand, makes you impossible to overlook. It commands attention without asking for it. It demands respect without begging for it. And it gets results without apologizing for them. Every time you choose power over excuses, you are rewriting your future. You are proving to yourself and to the world that you can be counted on. And the more consistent you are, the more your presence alone will carry weight. That is when you cross the line from being ordinary to becoming a force. This isn't just about achievement. It's about identity. Who are you when no one's watching? Who are you when there's nothing to gain in the moment? The answer to those questions is what the world will eventually see and decide whether to respect or reject. So make the choice right now. No more excuses. No more delays. No more waiting for permission. Build the discipline. Build the proof. Build the power. If you've made it this far, drop a 100 in the comments. It shows you are part of the 1% that the world cannot ignore.